Now on the big red bench, it may well be the first weekend of the new year, but that doesn't mean that the action hasn't started in earnest on the camogie front. On Sunday at 1 o'clock at Castle Road, the Munster minor semi-final sees Cork taking on Clare. Cork, who reached last year's All-Ireland minor final, had a fantastic year. We're delighted to be joined here on the big red bench by the Cork minor camogie manager, Mossy O'Sullivan. Mossy, how are you?
I'm very good, thanks, Joe.
Happy New Year to
Very
you.
busy at the moment. For maybe happy returns.
Yeah, very busy. Thanks for taking the time to speak to us because I know that you're actually down the Mardyke at the moment because the players are involved in a pre-weekend session. Easy one to start. It's very early start in the year for the minor age grade, but what have you been doing over the winter months to get ready for this Munster semi-final?
So we've look, we started back in November, so we're actually 8 weeks on the road now, which is great. We've been in the Mardyke every Friday night for the last 8 weeks, so it's kind of strength and conditioning program. And then Tuesdays and Sundays we've been hurling. So look, it's been fantastic. This year we had 141 girls trial, which was an extraordinary amount of girls. And look, it's just shows how strong and how important it is to trial, and maybe how important it is to keep players at all grades for Cork.
How do you and your management team whittle down 140 players to a panel of 30 odd?
It's very difficult. I suppose Cork is a unique county. We have 70 clubs. Look, we just look. It's very difficult. I suppose there's a lot of girls that would probably should have been there, but unfortunately, when you can only pick 30, it is very difficult. Um, but the quality of the players this year is it's just extraordinary. The way that the game is developed, it's unbelievable. I suppose the strength and conditioning program that the Mardyke started a couple of years ago is showing. It's becoming stronger. I suppose the rules changing over the last few years with the now you can shoulder and stuff like that, making the game more physical. And again, it's gone faster as well. The girls look, they put in a lot of work. But to answer your question, it is very difficult. I suppose it's a lottery, really.
Hmm. Yeah, like I don't think any other county would have. Maybe they have that many trials, but they don't have the depth of quality that you have to choose from. Your management team this year, you've Trevor Allen back in as coach, Liam O'Connor, Claude DC, Liam McSweeney, Tom Linehan, Cleana Cotter, Leah West and Deirdre Looney, and Orla O'Regan, who's your county board liaison officer. Like, does it to handle everything that's come over the last couple of months is one thing, but to handle what's to come, beginning with the provincial championship, they're minors, they're like things have changed, they're all working, they've got different, they're in school, or some of them are in college, whatever. Your management team are never been more important to you, Mossy, and the people that you've got around you are obviously the ones that you trust.
Yes, look, I've been very lucky, to be fair. They all came back on board this year. We added probably Tom Linehan, who has very vast experience with underage for Cork. A lot of development he did. Look, Liam McSweeney, another addition to us, which is great. Was the manager of the Slieve Rua team that won the county this year, the minor A county. So look, and then obviously having Trevor, Liam, Clodagh, Deirdre that were with me for the last couple of years, it's just, what I mean, look, to keep us ticking over. We like to bring in new people as well, just to bring different voices, different opinions, different ideas, which is trying to keep it as fresh as you can,
A lot of coaches we've been talking to a lot of coaches, like even from Kilbrittain, they've got an All Ireland final coming up from the Bars as well in the Camogie final replay. Getting players to to stay focused over the Christmas period, New Year, it's not easy. Like people have to get on with their lives. Same with Cork minor camogie players. But is it good in a way that you're coming straight into the new year in one sense from a management point of view that they're going to have to be focused because the Munster Championship is important in terms of grounding for what's to come?
Yes, look. To be honest with you, I suppose the girls that are there, they're very dedicated. I always use the analogy of being a player that plays camogie or a camogie player, and a lot of the girls that we have, they're camogie players. They put camogie first, so there is a bit of a sacrifice. I suppose they had to sacrifice over Christmas, which is unfortunate because especially it's a big family time,
Mm.
but their dedication is unbelievable. Like we trained last Sunday or Tuesday morning out in Ballincollig. We trained Sunday morning as well. Do you know what I mean? you ask them to come up and train, they'll train any time of the day, which is great. And, they're just dedicated to the sport. And I suppose that's what, that's what endears us with them and them with us.
You have some array of clubs in this year's panel or and this year's finalised squad. Corsia Rovers, Ballinhassig, Barryross, SARS, Newtown, Chandra, Bullock, Killa, Enniscarra, Douglas, St. Catherine's, Blarney, Ballyea. I have to read them all out now in case I forget one. Aaron's Own, Father O'Neill's, Brian Dillon's, Newcestown, Airog, Schlievro, and Ballincollig. I mean, to be fair, as you said, it's not easy whittling it down, but you've cast a net wide, obviously, from that selection with that number of clubs, Mossy.
Yes, look, we try our best. Look, to look, they're probably the best players for their club, right? And we've been out, I suppose, since we finished up last year. We've been out watching games, and I suppose, look, a lot of these clubs are like, if you take Ballincollig, got to an All Ireland club final. You have obviously the Bears into the All Ireland as well. I mean, look, you're trying to get a big array from everyone and trying to watch, all the little clubs as well. I mean, like, we have, like, the likes of Barry Rowe. You have a girl from Barry Rowe who's an outstanding player. You've little clubs as well that you get one or two players from that are, that really stand out. Which is fantastic.
Obviously, we're talking about the Munster Championship first because that's first up. But I would imagine, having gotten all the way from, and like, it was a fantastic year for you last year. You lost the final to Kilkenny in the Electric Ireland All Ireland Minor A final in the end. I would imagine motivation when the time comes and when championship comes around, Mossy, that's not going to be the issue. But are there lessons to be learned from last year? Because people forget just what a great year you had. It didn't end the way you wanted it to, but that doesn't detract from what was a really, really productive year.
Yeah, look, I suppose the lessons from last year is just that, look, these things happen. I suppose you can't define yourself on 1 hour of camogie. But what I would say is that, yeah, the lessons we learn, I suppose, is that, how to adapt to, I suppose, the big occasion probably got to the girls. On the day, probably a few things didn't go right. You look at things, maybe one or two small moments in a game. I mean, we missed probably a penalty last year in the final. Could have turned the game if we'd have got that. Look, these are all the margins. They're small errors, and you're trying to rectify them all the time. But look, this year we probably haven't, like, I suppose with minor, it's a new team. There's only 5 girls from last year, so there's 25 that have probably that are our first year minors, as per se, and like you have. You just have to keep motivated, and I suppose bringing in new fresh people, new faces, motivates us as well, which is the most important thing. That's what drives us on. And I suppose Cork is a proud camogie county, and we're proud to represent them.
Just finally, Mossy, on Sunday you take on Clare in a Munster semi-final. What are you looking for from this game? Just starting off, what are the key goals, I suppose, that you're looking to achieve, apart from obviously wanting to win the game?
Well, look, it's the performance really. Look, we know it's winter hurling, so it's a bit different, right? So winter hurling is not like summer hurling where it's a bit faster. We want girls we want them to win the rucks. We want them to win the small parts of the game, just the small things, and then the big things will come. Look, you're in winter hurling. You really have to dig deep. You have to fight for every ball. You nearly have to fight for every inch of the pitch, because it's, the ball doesn't travel as far. It's, and they're the things. And then look, we're looking for a big performance, and that's what we're looking for.
Yeah, on Sunday in Castle Road with a 1 p.m. throw in the first competitive action of the year for the Cork minor camogie team. It's the Munster minor semi-final against Clare. To the players, to the panel, to the backroom team, and to you as well, Mossy O'Sullivan, we look forward to talking to you throughout the year. And thanks very much for taking the time to speak to us here on the Big Red Bench.
Thanks, Jar. Mind yourself. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year, buddy.